Howdy and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to polish some obsidian. Now this project has been on my to-do list for some time and so we're going to get it done. So I'm going to flip you around here and I'm going to show you what we're doing. This is my table of big projects. This is a different video entirely. But we have here some obsidian, and one of them I've already started to cut and grind down a little bit. I forgot which one it was. But basically I've been given free reign to do whatever I see fit for these large pieces. Now I'm not going to polish the entire thing all the way around. I am going to polish certain aspects of it. This is rainbow obsidian, by the way. So I kind of like how it looks on this other side. It doesn't look like much, but let me get it wet. So once you get it wet, you can kind of see what we can expect from this piece once we grind it down and get it polished up. Now this is going to be a rough estimate because we are going to lose some material once we grind this down. We're going to use the 80 grit hard diamond wheel, and then we're going to use the 180 to kind of offset the deep scratches that we get from this one. And then from there, we'll take it over to the expando wheel to kind of further sand it down before we take it over to the CAD machine to then get all the scratches from this machine out. And so yeah, one of many. And I guess, like I said, I was given kind of free reign to do what I think is necessary for these pieces. Some of them might be a little bit difficult. So if you see here, this one, I think I might actually cut right here. Actually, hang on, let me flip it over here. Flip it over. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, this one we're going to have to cut. I'm going to probably use my big saw for this. But we're going to cut kind of at an angle going this way so we can kind of get as many of these layers as possible. And then kind of go from there, because I don't want us to grind this one down because that's too big of a imperfection of the stone, and it would take forever to grind down. So I'm just going to kind of cut it for that one. And then for all the other ones here, a lot to choose from. I might even cut this one too. And then that way you can kind of expose more of those layers. There are some really pretty pieces. Look at that. Really, really pretty. I can't wait to get that one down. And, ooh. Nice, nice. Yeah, so just gotta get cutting, get grinding, and get this project done. Alright, I wanted to share something here. So I cut all these by hand. I did not use an auto-fed saw. I have a couple auto-fed saws. I have a couple saws that are not auto-fed. You have to do everything by hand. So I cut all these manually, which there's pros and cons. The biggest con is, well, I'll show you. The biggest con is, you see all that reflective material right there? That is the result of cutting it by hand. Those are basically really small, I guess you can call them impact fractures. It's superficial. I mean, it's just on the surface. So that's the result of using so I use the high tech. It's nothing against high tech. It's actually just because it's cut up by hand. Auto-fed saws, if I had used the auto-fed saw for this entire project, I would not have those. Now, since I have this, you can kind of see, like, it looks smooth, but it's not done. It's nowhere near done. This one's a flat surface. I can't use the entirety of, well, I mean, I could use the entirety of it, but I would leave, like, giant gouges all over the surface here. So I used the expando belt for a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use the, oh gosh, I think it's the 180. Yeah, 180 diamond flat lap by High Tech. It's not more. I'm not sponsored. I bought this, full price. But I'm going to use the diamond flat lap to hopefully work out this one. There's a few other flat ones too. They should be able to fit on there. Okay, cool. And will this one fit? This one's kind of a weird shape. Yeah, that'll fit. And then this other big one, though, it might not fit, which might... Ooh. Barely. It barely fits. That's good. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to get out... Basically, I have to grind down that flat surface to get rid of all those marks. And then from there, I take it back over to the expando belt to further get out the scratches. So for those that are getting a lapidary, just kind of be aware that just because something seems faster, it may not be faster down, in the long run. But since, this is kind of, it's a big project, I didn't feel like sitting and waiting around for the saws to actually, make the full cuts. I opted for the faster the faster option, and I still ended up having to spend extra time to get those issues out. Now these are going to be really nice, by the way. Like this one right here. Doesn't look it, but watch this. Look at that. Isn't that pretty or what? These are going to turn out really nice. And then, which one's dry? So we can get the most coolest effect. That one's fairly dry. Watch this. Ready? Ready? Nice. So this is the surface I'm going to work here. I'm going to round this down so it kind of comes around. So I don't like having sharp edges on for big projects, especially obsidian, since it tends to fracture. You can kind of see it there, that glimmer. You don't want that, not at all, because then it's not gonna look nice once you have a finished surface. But you can always see the color in this piece. So once it's polished, it should look like that. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna fire this. Oh man, I gotta get some water in here first, but we're gonna use that next. And then once I feel like I got all those deep marks ground down and gone, then we'll go to the next stage. The easy part is done. Well, it's not done yet, but I'm going to explain here in a second. So they do make diamond belts for these expando jumps. Now, I don't have the money to afford those kind of diamond belts. So I use basically toss away belts, once they're done with. However, I don't throw them away. I tend to keep my belts at least until they break, basically. And the reason being, because you can actually wear down a low grit belt, and it can start acting as a higher and higher grit. Now, I did have to put a fresh belt on here to kind of help pretty much sand down the really rough surfaces. And then once I was done with that, I took it to a quasi-used 100 grit belt, and it brought it down to a more acceptable finish before I took over to a used 400 grit belt. And then I got this finish right here. Of course, this is done. This is just right off the used 400 grit belt. Now you can see there's a lot of scratch marks still. That's okay. We're not done yet. This, like I said, the easy part was done. Now, I will not be using... Actually, let me rewind a little bit. So, for flat surfaces, for like obsidian or like a lot of stuff, sometimes I will run my belt dry just because it kind of helps the sanding process a little faster. It is not the safest as far as your health. So when I do this, I actually have a fan blowing, the garage door's open, and I have my respirator thing over there, so I keep my lungs safe because that's important. Because that dust is not good for your body. And so I'll do that with flat projects because it works for flat projects. For more curvy projects, I will use water, and I should be able to use this on my cabbing machine too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to use, for the more rounded projects, I'll bring it over here to the 100 grit, and I'll use water to, get all the previous scratches from this hard diamond wheel out. And then once I feel like that's acceptable, I stop on this machine, and then I take it over to my cabbing machine, where I have it set up to where I have one wheel on each side. So I would use, I'm actually back up a stage with a different belt or a different wheel, but I'll use my Diamond Pacific Nova wheels for the more finish touches. That's why I said the easy part's done. The hardest part is doing the polish, because you want to get all the scratches out. Even these are not perfect, so what's going to happen is I'm probably going to find another piece of obsidian that's mine, and then I'm going to be testing the 600 grit and the 800 grit and then the 1000 grit pads back here, or the belts, on a test piece of mine, so I don't ruin the finish that I already have on there. And if that test piece shows that it's acceptable, then I'll go ahead and move forward. So that's kind of how I do that for the flat pieces. But now that those are kind of ready for the next stage, I'm going to take a break on these and start working on the more curvy ones. So let's just get started on this. Alright, I just finished the 100 grit belt with the expando wheel on these bigger curvy pieces. You can kind of see here a little bit that it's not done yet. It's all the scratches, but that's okay. The whole point of using this first was to get all the deep stuff out before going on to the next machine, so I don't have to spend as much time on there. So for the cabbing machine here, I'm gonna put the 140 on the left side and the 280 on the right side, and then we're gonna start here, and then we're gonna jump over to the 280, do as much as I can, and then I'll double check my work before what happens is this: that one goes left side, that one goes right side. Assuming that everything turns out great, the 140 gets put aside, then the 280 goes to the left side, and then the 600, which is currently right there, will go on this side. And I'll keep doing that until the final stages. So it's constantly going to be changing wheels after each step. So that way I at least have one stage from the previous step on the machine at all times. That way if I ever have to go backwards, I'll have that grit ready. So let's go ahead and work on the next step. Alright, time to unveil all the finished pieces. We have 9 pieces in total. So this is going to be the first one here. Just the first one. Normally I'll do sharp faces like this because it's hard to prevent the edge from chipping, but this one actually turned out pretty good actually for that one. So that is the first one. And I didn't do anything with the sides or the back. Just gonna let that alone. But you can kind of see what it looked like before I even started sanding it down. Like this is like a fresh cut here. So that's have to recut it to turn that to that. That's a huge difference. So there's that one. Now we have this one here. Look at that. Beautiful colors. And there's still a lot of meat on this one left, so someone could come through here, slab off this this finish side here, and then keep slabbing down. But that is a beautiful piece of rainbow obsidian. Really, really beautiful. There's that one. So you have this little guy here. There's the back. Here's the top. This one almost has like an effect. It looks like it's like brush strokes coming down this way. And that's just part of the flow of the obsidian. Really beautiful. So there's a little one. And then we have this one right here. See the color right away. Really, really beautiful material. I believe this actually came from the same rock as this one right here, if I recall correctly. But yeah. That can still get cut down too. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And let's do this one over here. So we have the back here. I did have to soften up the edges just so we don't have any cuts. You can see the color of this piece right there, just a little bit on the end. And those colors will go all the way through to the other side. For those that don't know, this is rainbow obsidian. This is natural, nature-made, polished by man, polished here on the channel. I do have 2 lights, so it's not a weird. I have 2 lights on either side. But yeah, this is really beautiful material. And normally I don't like doing flat polishes, only because if you're trying to polish a flat surface, it takes a lot longer to do. But these actually turned out pretty good. And let's do this one way back here. Oh. Again, I had to soften the edges. By soften, I mean I had to grind down the edges here. This kind of prevents any kind of like sharp edges. Look at that. I already have a fingerprint on there. Oops. That's okay. You have to let me know what you think in the comment section. What you think about these pieces and the polished, how I polished them, the shapes. I want to hear what you think in the comment section. That one's really, really pretty. Nice. All right, that was that big one right there. And I have one right here. This one's kind of fun. So we're going to look at the back first. So here's the back. You can see all the colors. This is a natural break. And then we flip it over. And we have my fingerprint right there already. That's one of the hardest parts when you finish polishing obsidian is keeping them clean. That's the hardest part. But look at that. That is a beautiful piece. And I don't want to get my fingerprints all over it, but this does feel really nice on like when you're like touching this. It has a nice smooth round feel to it. Really, really beautiful. So there's that one. Put that one right here. And let's do this one next. So you can see the back. We got some glitter. I just got done putting away all the Christmas decorations, so glitter's everywhere in here. This is the back side. You can see it's pretty rough, but then we flip it over. We have. Let's see if we can get this to focus a little bit. This is gonna be the hardest part. Filming obsidian can be actually one of the hardest parts to do. But look at that. Look at that color. Don't mind the fingerprints. Look at that. That's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. I love that one. I would ask you what you think my favorite pieces are, but I'm just gonna tell you right now, this is one of them. Between this one and the last one, those are definitely in my top 2 favorite ones. Mainly because the color and the chatoyancy of the layers, it almost looks like a metallic paint. So there's that one. And the last one, we're gonna back the camera up just a little bit so we can get in the camera here. And the last one, which is again one of my favorites. I'm gonna show you the back first. This is the back of it. You can see all the different colors there. Really beautiful piece. Let me flip it over. And we have that. Look at that. To me, it looks almost like a mask, a little bit. Like some kind of mask, because you have 2 eyes there. But look at that. That is just absolutely beautiful. Again, let me know in the comment section what you think of this piece. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful piece. And now it's time to package this up and send it out. Put you right here.